It's been a little over a week since Charlie Kirk was unfortunately assassinated in Utah at his speaking event. And, well, things are looking kind of weird because it seems that everybody, for the most part, everybody on the Democratic side, any big politicians or any big people in the media, have condemned the assassination and the killing of Charlie Kirk. Everybody on the Democrats agrees you should not be killed just for talking in this country, especially talking about politics.
This is horrific. This is awful. And the assassination of Charlie Kirk risks an uncorking of political chaos.
I cried when I found out he died. So all of us have got to work together and de-escalate the hate and the rhetoric in this country.
We could all resist the temptation just to point fingers. That takes us nowhere. We should be rejecting gun violence and political violence in all of their forms, regardless of who the target is.
I think any normal, reasonable, rational person in this country can agree with that. At least anybody that is for democracy, because it's kind of one of the cornerstones of a healthy democracy, to be able to discuss the issues of the day and get to a middle ground of what we actually want to have happen in this country. Nobody in this country, at least anybody major on the Democrats, any major politician, they've all condemned the assassination. While on the right, Trump and J.D. Vance and Stephen Miller and all the large media figures, both in mainstream media and in alternative media, they're essentially calling for something like a civil war, I guess. You don't even need to take my word for it. Just listen to them.
Over the past 24 hours, I've seen some in the media, some of the very same people who intentionally stoked murderous hatred against people like Charlie Kirk, now saying that we need to turn down the temperature and start having conversations. Well, Charlie tried to have conversations with you on the left, and you killed him for it.
But consider the level of propaganda at work. Charlie was gunned down in broad daylight, and well-funded institutions of the left lied about what he said so as to justify his murder.
What do we do about our country with that? Because we have radicals on the right as well. We have radicals on the left. How do we fix this country? How do we come back together?
I'll tell you something that's going to get me in trouble, but I couldn't care less. The radicals on the right oftentimes are radical because they don't want to see crime. They don't want to see crime. They're saying, we don't want these people coming in. We don't want you burning our shopping centers. We don't want you shooting our people in the middle of the street. The radicals on the left are the problem. And they're vicious, and they're horrible, and they're politically savvy. Although they want men and women sports, they want transgender for everyone, they want open borders. The worst thing that happened to this country, because I've already solved inflation, costs are down. Look at energy costs.
The unfortunate reality of the situation is that things will not calm down, things will not cool down, and things won't get better in this country until Donald Trump himself lowers the temperature. What needs to happen is there needs to be some kind of national address where he gets on TV for 10 minutes and just condemns the violence on both sides equally. He can't just get on stage and talk about the radical left and how it's all their fault. He can't just come on stage and talk about just the incidents of violence against Republicans and conservatives. He has to come talk about it equally. Every single time that he and J.D. Vance have gone out into the public and made an address, they've only brought up acts of violence against the right.
From the attack on my life in Butler, Pennsylvania last year, which killed a husband and father, to the attacks on ICE agents, to the vicious murder of a healthcare executive in the streets of New York, to the shooting of House Majority Leader Steve Scalise and 3 others, radical left political violence has hurt too many innocent people and taken too many lives.
The leader of our party, Donald J. Trump, escaped an assassin's bullet by less than an inch. Our House Majority Leader, Stephen Scalise, came within seconds of death by an assassin himself. And now, the most influential conservative activist in generations, our friend Charlie, has been murdered. This violence, it doesn't come from nowhere.
Seems too intentional to not include the other acts of political violence in this country. It seems that they're intentionally trying to blame this on one side, even though reality goes against what they're trying to say. Josh Shapiro, the governor of PA, had his house firebombed. Melissa Hortman, her husband, killed in Minnesota. There are all these things that happen that they just magically forget and they don't talk about. And when they talk about repercussions and things that are going to be happening in the aftermath of Charlie Kirk, only seems like they're going after the left. Just now, like less than an hour ago, Jimmy Kimmel got pulled off the air because of something he said in his monologue. Yeah, so what the fuck is that? Like, Jimmy Kimmel just got pulled off the air because he made a joke against the president. And you know for a fact the president called this in directly. You know this was Trump himself. He even said after Colbert that Jimmy Kimmel was next. And now look, like, they have no principles. Like the First Amendment, you thought they cared about that. Apparently not. The Second Amendment, you thought they cared about that too. Apparently not. So it seems that all these things that these Republicans have been, saying they actually stand for the past 40, 50 years, none of it was true. Kind of weird. It's kind of weird how they can just 180 on every single one of their principles and everyone will just think it's cool. Things won't calm down until Trump and his administration brings it down. And it doesn't seem like they're going to be doing that anytime soon. As a matter of fact, it seems like they're ratcheting it up. And it's not only them, it's everybody in, like, from mainstream media to alternative media on the right. They're all just going fucking mad, calling for civil war. So that'll suck. By the way, every single person online, like any big media figure, any big pundit, any big personality, influencer, the ones that are calling for a civil war or calling for battle, just remember that every single one of them will be behind their computer still when the Civil War starts. They're not going to be in the trenches fighting with you, all right? No fucking way. They're going to be behind their keyboards making money. Don't forget about that. Don't get twisted. If we all actually took a second and thought about this like adults for 5 minutes, for 5 seconds, it wasn't a Republican and it wasn't a Democrat that killed this person. Now, when I say Republican or Democrat, I'm talking the people that you know. The people that you're around, the people that you work with who might vote for something else. And, you might not like their political take, but, Brian's a whatever. He's a cool dude. And then outside your Republicans and Democrats, you have crazy people. Crazy people are the ones who do crazy shit like people for their political speech. The problem is the rhetoric that is coming from the right, the rhetoric that's coming not only from the right ecosystem of media, but also from the fucking president of the United States is triggering to crazy people. The reason that we have so much political violence when Trump is in office is because he riles up the crazy people. Because it's not normal people. It's not normal Democrats or Republicans that just decide to, this weekend, I was going to watch the game with my friends, but instead I'm going to go. It's crazy people that do that. And Trump's actions, Trump's rhetoric, the entire right ecosystem's rhetoric is just triggering the crazy people. So until they stop doing that, until they stop ratcheting it up, shit's going to get worse. And it's going to be solely on them. No amount of groveling or disavowal from the Democrats is going to please them. They'll always want more. They're just going to continue to push because it's working for them. They've been on the offensive for 10 years, and they're not going to stop now because it's working better than ever. Oh, yeah, and cancel culture. You thought conservatives, remember when they used to care about that? Yeah, see? No principles, no morals, nothing. At least with the modern Republican Party. Until their actions prove otherwise, that's going to be my interpretation of them. By the way, if you like what you're watching, drop a like, drop a subscription. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you very much. It's just insane that this is coming from the President of the United States. No matter what, I feel like if you look at this and you don't see it as just like an embarrassment, you're lying to yourself. And I hope you know that it's going to stick with you later because it's fucking gross. Everything that these people once claimed to stand for, they just threw it all out the window for Trump, too. I don't get for fucking Trump. Like, yeah, so it's probably going to get worse before it gets better because it doesn't seem like Trump or Vance or anybody in the Republican Party just wants to calm down. So it's just going to keep getting like this and probably somebody else is going to get killed or more people are going to get killed later because why would it stop? We're on the same path as we were before Charlie, and it's probably going to lead to the same result somewhere at some point. So until next time, we're going to have the same exact conversation. The right is going to continue to ask for disavowal and continue to ask for groveling and continue to not take responsibility for their side of ratcheting up the temperature. And Democrats will grovel and disavow and beg for forgiveness, and they'll get none until next time. So until next time.